All right, so today we're going deep, really deep into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But, and this is important,
Okay.
it's not just like, what is Bitcoin?
Right.
Like, where did it come from? Why should we even care?
That's the thing, right? It kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, it came out of 2008, which
Oh, yeah, good point. That whole financial crisis.
exactly, nobody trusted the banks.
Right, the whole system felt broken.
Yeah, and then boom, big
Like out of the ashes. Yeah.
like a
Phoenix.
yeah, a digital phoenix, exactly.
I like that.
So, for this deep dive,
Oh, yeah.
our main source, it's this HBO documentary,
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
One Electric. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's so good.
It's wild, right? Like, it's a financial thriller.
I know. Not what you'd expect, but it totally works.
And that whole mystery of Satoshi Nakamoto.
Oh my God, yeah. Who is this person?
Right. Like, Bitcoin's creator, but we don't even know who they are.
It's crazy. Like, they published that white paper in 2008.
Yeah, 2008. Setting the whole thing in motion, and then,
Poof, gone.
it's wild, like Da Vinci Code, but with,
Algorithms?
Yeah. Okay, but before we go full conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
we got to, like, lay the groundwork. Imagine, like, someone's never heard of Bitcoin.
Okay, blank slate.
How do you even explain it?
All right, so think of it like digital cash.
Okay, so, like, Venmo or something?
Kind of, but the big difference is no banks.
Wait, so, like, nobody controls it?
Exactly, it's decentralized.
Yeah.
Runs on this network,
Well,
a network. Yeah, like imagine a giant Google Doc.
Oh, okay.
But everyone can see it, all the transactions.
Just so, like, completely transparent.
Totally. And secure, too. Nobody can mess with it.
Huh. That's pretty different from how things work now.
It is, yeah. That's the blockchain.
Blockchain, I've heard that word.
Right. It's the tech behind it all. Super important.
Okay, so that's how transactions are recorded. But what about the mining?
Mining. Yeah. Lots of misconceptions there.
I mean, it makes me picture, like, pickaxes and helmets.
Aha, right. No, it's all digital.
So what are their, like, digital pickaxes?
Kinda. It's these powerful computers, right?
Right.
Solving crazy complex math problems. Whoever solves it first,
They get...
Bitcoin, as a reward.
Huh. So, like, a global competition.
Exactly. And the prize is Bitcoin.
All right, so why is Bitcoin even valuable in the first place?
Okay, so one reason it's scarce, like gold.
Okay, limited supply, I get it.
And remember, it's decentralized. No government control.
Right.
That's a big deal for a lot of people.
So we've got, like, the basics. Digital cash, blockchain, miners.
Yep, that's the foundation.
But let's go back to the mystery.
Oh, yeah, Satoshi.
Why is their identity such a big deal?
Well, they disappeared in 2011, like vanished.
Just like that?
Yep. And the documentary, it goes through all these suspects.
Really? Like,
Suspects.
it's wild. Like Dorian Nakamoto,
Who's that?
this engineer, right? Newsweek said he was Satoshi.
Wow. I bet that caused chaos.
Oh, total mayhem. But then
Yeah.
he denied it, said it wasn't him at all.
So back to square one. Pretty much, yeah.
But does the documentary, like, offer any clues?
Well, there's this scene where they confront Peter Todd,
Peter Todd.
a software developer. They think he might be Satoshi.
Oh, okay. And what happens?
We'll have to wait and see. His reaction is something else.
Okay, now I'm really curious.
I know, right? It's a cliffhanger. Well, Peter Todd, he's a whole other story. But, we've been talking about the mystery, but Bitcoin, it's out in the world now.
Right, like, it's not just some abstract idea anymore.
Exactly. It's making waves, like in the financial world.
Yeah, it's crazy how mainstream it's become. Like, everyday people investing, big institutions getting involved.
You see it even in, like, 401k plans now.
401k, seriously?
Yeah. Like retirement savings, even those have Bitcoin as an option. That's got to tell you something.
That's wild. So are we saying Bitcoin's the future of money then?
I mean, that's the big question, right?
Like, could it actually replace the dollar, the euro, all that?
It's a tough one. It has the potential, but there are roadblocks for sure.
Okay, like what?
Well, regulation, governments, they're still figuring out what to do with it.
Right, it makes sense. A lot of uncertainty.
Exactly, and that makes some people hesitant. And then there's the whole environmental thing.
Oh, right, the mining.
Yeah, all those computers using tons of energy.
Not exactly eco-friendly.
It's a valid concern, but to be fair, the industry is working on it.
Really? How so?
Some are switching to renewable energy for mining, and there's a push for making it more efficient overall.
That's good to hear. So there's hope?
Definitely. I mean, the tech's evolving constantly, but let's not forget the people involved here. This documentary, it introduces us to some really interesting characters.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, they weren't just talking heads.
Right. Each person had such a strong perspective on Bitcoin. Like Samson Moe, he's all about that financial freedom angle.
I remember him. Really passionate guy.
Then you have Ricardo Salinas Pliego, this billionaire. He sees Bitcoin as a shield against, like, inflation and government interference.
It's like two totally different reasons for believing in the same thing.
Exactly. Shows you how broad the appeal is. But it's not all sunshine and roses, right? The doc features skeptics, too.
Oh, good point. Not everyone's sold on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, like, there's Nouriel Rubini, this economist. He's pretty outspoken against it, calls it a mother of all bubbles.
So you have believers, you have doubters. Makes for a balanced perspective, I guess.
It does, but, going beyond the financial stuff, Bitcoin's become this whole cultural thing, too.
Yeah, you're right. It's like more than just money. It's a statement.
Yeah, it's a symbol.
Right, like financial freedom, rebellion against the system. You see it in the online communities, the conferences, people who are really invested in this idea.
It's like a movement, almost. But we got to talk about the dark side, too.
Oh, yeah. Can't ignore that.
Because with all that anonymity, Bitcoin's also used for, not so legal things.
Right, money laundering, dark web stuff. That's the flip side of decentralization. It's hard to control.
So how do you even regulate something like that?
That's the million-dollar question. It's a dilemma policymakers are facing worldwide. Okay, so we've talked mystery, impact, personalities, even the dark side. Where do we go from here? What's next for Bitcoin?
Well, the doc hints at some possibilities, like mainstream adoption continuing to grow, more institutions investing, prices stabilizing. It could become more attractive to the average person.
What about those regulatory hurdles? Could governments actually stifle its growth?
It's possible, but there could also be a more collaborative approach, regulators working with the crypto industry to find some balance.
Okay, so maybe not a total crackdown. What about all the other stuff happening in crypto? Like DeFi and NFTs, where do they fit in?
Well, think of Bitcoin as like opening a door. Blockchain technology, it's capable of so much more than just currency. DeFi, it's about building a whole financial system on top of that without the traditional middlemen.
So like banks become irrelevant.
Kinda, it's about putting individuals in control of their finances.
And NFTs, those digital collectibles, are those part of it too?
NFTs, they're a bit different. They use similar tech, but they're about digital ownership, like art, music, even virtual land.
It's crazy how much potential there is, just with blockchain. So after all this, is Bitcoin a fad, or is it here to stay?
I think the takeaway is it's a fundamental shift. How we think about money, finance, even power. It challenges the whole system.
Yeah, even if it doesn't replace traditional currencies, it's already shaken things up big time.
And it sparked so much innovation. It's not just tech, it's people. These communities, the developers, everyone with a stake in it.
It's like this whole ecosystem built around Bitcoin. You can feel the energy.
It's exciting. Makes this whole deep dive so interesting. But before we wrap up, I have one final thought. We talked about disrupting finance, but what if Bitcoin's impact goes even further?
What do you mean, like beyond money?
It's about power, really. Like, who has it?
Power, huh? Okay.
Think about it. Bitcoin, it takes control away from those big institutions, right?
You mean like governments, banks, all that?
Exactly. And it puts it back in the hands of individuals.
So like a power shift. We've been talking about decentralization, but this is on a whole other level.
It is. What if power wasn't just about money? It's about who controls information, Who gets to make the rules?
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this. So Bitcoin, it's not just about changing how we buy stuff, it's about changing how society works.
That's the idea, like a more equal distribution of power, not just in finance, but everywhere.
Whoa! So like a total societal transformation. Is that even possible?
Well, we're already seeing glimpses of it. Look at the Bitcoin community. They're building their own systems, experimenting with new ways to govern themselves. It's inspiring, really.
So it's more than just tech, it's a whole new way of thinking.
Exactly. That's what makes this whole Bitcoin thing so fascinating. We're not just talking about a new gadget, we're talking about potentially changing the fabric of society.
Okay, I gotta admit, that's pretty mind-blowing. But let's bring it back down to earth for a sec. For everyone listening, what are the big takeaways here?
I'd say the biggest one is that Bitcoin represents a fundamental shift. How we think about money, sure, but also power. It challenges the way things have always been done.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't completely replace the dollar or the euro, it's already had a huge impact, like forcing everyone to rethink how the financial system works.
And sparking all this incredible innovation, we're just at the beginning, really. Another thing to remember, it's not just about the tech itself, it's about the people behind it.
The developers, the investors, the whole community, right?
Exactly. It's their passion that's driving this whole thing forward. This whole deep dive, it's really made me think about the possibilities. It's like this digital gold rush, but instead of gold, people are searching for something much bigger.
A new way to connect, to build a future that's actually fair. I get it.
And that energy, it's contagious. That's what
Hmm.
makes this mystery so compelling. It's still unfolding, and we're all part of it.
So to everyone out there, keep exploring, keep learning about Bitcoin, and keep asking those tough questions.
Because the future, it's being built right now, and it's
Yeah.
up to all of us to decide what it looks like.
Kind of said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Bitcoin. And remember, keep those minds open. The future's full of surprises.